Start. Merry Christmas, everybody. People wonder why we say Merry Christmas. Of course, it's Merry Christmas. And I've been asked this question, and we need to have an answer to it. I've not had much time to be able to have this conversation, but now we are going to have the conversation. The central bank and the President Muhammadu Buhari's agric intervention, what has it done for Nigerian farmers? On this Christmas Day of 2021, let me tell you the reality. Nigerian farmers have not had the rub of the green when it comes to agric interventions. You cannot be a country with over 80 million arable hectares of farmland, and then you will not be able to process your own ogogoro. You cannot be a country of over 200 million people, and then you will not have an educated workforce with the capacity to become productive. I took the risk, invited friends to come and invest in Gate in 2017. And I took the risk because there was NISAL Smart Farm Program. NISAL Smart Farm Program that was supposed to help farmers. If you have a contribution, if you can pay the expenses of farming, oh yeah, come. 2017, it didn't work. Story. 2018, we said, okay, let us go ahead and then run the entire farm process independent of government. It didn't work. 2019, it didn't work. Meanwhile, 2017, I applied for the Cbn Commercial Agri Credit Scheme. I did not get it until 2021. Early 2021. Now, how many Nigerian farmers have the size of what we have? This farm is currently valued at about 8.3 billion naira. How many Nigerian farms have this size of farm like we have in Gati? Now, how many Nigerian farmers can afford to go and rent a collateral in Lagos and Abuja to be able to collateralize the money that the government is giving to farmers? Now, as if that is not enough, how many Nigerian farmers in rural Nigeria can actually go and put down documentations to be able to access this agri facility? How many? How many of us go school? How many of us when go school no book? How many of us when no book we carry the book walk? The reality is this. You say you are intervening in agriculture to support the ordinary farmers in rural Nigeria. You are sitting in offices in Abuja and Lagos that have ACs. You drive Hilux that have ACs. You don't go to the farms all the time. You are always making noise in your office. Agric intervention. You keep telling me that a ton of maize is going to cause this. Oh no, you can. How can anybody sit down in an office and design a program for maize and it's putting the price at 297,000? Are you normal? Are you well? There is no hectare of maize in this country that costs less than 300,000 naira to plant. Eh? None.
If you doubt me, come to the field.
If you doubt me, come to the field. I am in the field. I sleep in the field. And people tell me, why am I not paying interest on government facility? Bros, how can you give a farmer a loan and you are giving him 6-month moratorium? And even that 6-month moratorium, you are not giving him all the money at once. You begin to speak English. I want you to harrow first. I want you to plow first. I want to plant first before I give you money. There is no planting policy in this country that is working. None. Whether they are planting rice, or they are planting maize, or they are planting soya beans, or you are planting sesame seed, none is working because first and foremost, you use one nonsense written by those who went to Harvard, supposedly. What is the business of Harvard in designing a project in Nigeria here? If I want to use Harvard, you will give me road. I will not have to create road myself. If you want to go to Harvard, you will not only give me road, you will give me light. Please, let them see the lights. Imagine that I brought in electricity here. If you want to go to Harvard, if you want to use Harvard, you will give me subsidies. What subsidy have you given to me? If you want to use Harvard, you will give me machineries. If you want to use Harvard, you will give me interest loan at less than 1%. So when you bring Harvard schooled, experienced policymakers and all these woke, mad, supposedly experts to design agri programs in Nigeria without talking to the real farmers themselves, you are doing Nigeria a disservice. You are sweating for this country. You are giving us headache, and you make us drink all the time. Somebody asked me why you drink. Why do you drink? Why not go drink? Why not what kill me for ya? Why not go? Tell me why would I not drink? I consume a bottle of. Why not go drink? Is there any normal farmer in Nigeria that is the Muslim are just the Muslim don't drink, but bros, they do all that is to cover for the drinking. The reality is very clear. If agri intervention must work in this country, dear CBN, number one, none of your facilities should be less than, should be between 5 to 20 years. Because then the spread of interest and capital to be paid will be smaller so that the farmer can actually develop. That's number one. Number two, none of your interest rate should be less than 5%. Because let me be very clear on that interest rate. You give farmers, you're telling farmers 9%. Dear CBN, are you aware that other than 5%, other than 9%, in most cases, I am going to pay tax of about 12.30%. That's number one. That's not come over. What of consulting, Uncle? Me and me in the bush, will I be able to write all the paper myself? I will need to get a consultant. I will need to get specialist who knows how to write paper that suits you. I can't write it now. Which school could I go? I went to a bloody Kaduna State Polytechnic Zaria and tried to do masters. How many of us when I go to school fit write better book? I talk earlier. By the time you calculate all of the cost implication of that your money, of that your 9%, you realize that your 9% is actually 20% per annum. How many of us get the money? So you think if you make it 1 to 5%, even if there's an extra 5% or so extra, they will be paying about 10%. So your 9% is actually 20%. So your 1% may be 5%. Your 5% may be 10%. It is better you give us lower rates so that it's easier for us to pay, because we are not paying because we are struggling to pay because not because we are useless people. You see, one of the biggest challenges of farming in this country, one of the biggest challenges of agriculture in Nigeria is that you think it is easy for us to do. Because you think it is easy for us to do, you design programs that, oh, it can work anywhere. It cannot work in Nigeria. So once your tenure is 5 to 20 years and your interest rate is 5 to maximum. As in when I'm talking about interest, I'm talking about plus all the other things is about less than 10%. Then the next thing is, where are your men that are in the field monitoring? Don't be monitoring farm from your offices, your cozy offices in Abuja and Lagos. Start monitoring farms from the field. Once you have that in place, invest only in those who are willing to die for the country. See, forget about, look, I always say that you must go with the Keynesian model of economic development. In the 30s, when it was impossible for business to make progress, every time there is a crisis of economies, what does those government do? They introduce subsidies, they introduce capital expenditure, they introduce recurrent expenditure to stimulate growth. Because at those times, the private market and the private individual cannot spend. It is time for you to spend with the mindset of we are going to spend our economy out of recession. You did it during COVID. The CBN and the President Buhari practically spent us out of recession during COVID. It is time to spend the farmer out of crisis. Because insecurity as it is a product of failed policies and the insanity of politicians who don't understand that until rural Nigeria becomes viable, urban Nigeria cannot be peaceful. Let me repeat myself. Until rural Nigeria becomes viable, urban Nigeria cannot be peaceful. You want security in Lagos, you want security in Abuja, you want security all around the urban city centers in the country, make rural Nigeria work. That is exactly what we're saying. The CBN intervention is a good model. It's something that Nigeria should work on. But the approach is where we are struggling. And this is my Christmas message. My Christmas message is, it is time for those in power to recognize that urban power, has not helped rural progress. For as long as rural progress is struggling, the urban sanity will be a mirage. Thank you very much. And this is 2021. I hope 2022 will be better. Anybody who wants to kill me, please come and kill me in Gati. I'm here. I'm not going to go anywhere.